Life Fight with Jermaine Andre is a positive production of RareGem Productions. For previous episodes or to get new episode updates, subscribe to the Life Fight channel hosted on the Inspiration Network of OneRareGem.com. That's OneRaregem.com for the tools you need to take on your life fight. With U.S. Martial Arts Hall of Famer, two-time world champion, five-time U.S. champion, UFC vet, life coach, and author, Jermaine Andre. Visit JermaineAndre.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Life Fight. This is Jermaine Andre, and today is going to be a very important segment on human trafficking. And, this is something for you as a parent to definitely listen to learn how to protect your child, your daughter, and even if you have a son, from getting caught up in something like this. And after you listen to it yourself, I would definitely like you to put your child next to you and allow them to listen to it also. But as of right now, also, Rebecca Beck is back in the house. She bailed on me for 2 weeks?
2 weeks,
yeah. Had to take over all her work, all her had to train her people. Just down to get my elbows, wrists tore up, all kinds of stuff.
Well, now you know.
Working. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Now I know better. Now I need her. So, but Rebecca Beck, my co-host, is back on the scene.
Hello, everyone.
And she actually, remember, I promised you guys that she was going to have to come clean with why she disappeared, her little disappearing act. But it's actually such a big issue that it's going to take a while for us to talk about it. Because today, I do want to cover, we're going to get into, I know we spoke about the human trafficking. And I actually spoke with someone who's actually a member of our gym. And her daughter's actually a student of ours. She was actually a fighter of mine, too. And she's big time into trying to put a stop to human trafficking. And she hit me to some stuff that I had no idea about. So I had to bring this. I pushed everything else to the side, and this is going to be topic number one. Yep. But also, I still want Rebecca to let you guys know, so a little bit of what happened. Yeah. Besides you not listening to me. Go ahead.
No, I think I was listening to you.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Well, what I was doing doing a cut. I was doing 2-a-days, which is, if anybody doesn't know what a 2-a-day is, it's a workout in the morning, workout in the evening. So it was pretty tough training, but I think what happened was I wasn't changing my diet. I think I was eating the same. I dehydrated myself. I malnourished myself.
Well, you weren't eating enough.
Yeah, I wasn't eating enough. Yep. So, I ended up losing 15 unwanted pounds at the end. So she's going to have I guess my cut worked.
Yeah, she's going to have a new weight loss program. And what it does, the way this program works is called the Rebecca Beck Weight Loss Program. You're going to lose 20 pounds. You get 2 weeks off of work. So this is just perfect. You can't beat that. We're going to
lay in bed.
You get to lay in bed, watch Family Guy and American Dad all day long. So, and you get served. So you're going to have somebody
get served.
Yeah, who's bringing you everything and cooking food for you. Get a little bale that comes in your little package for you. So it's going to be awesome. So, but we are going to cover that because this brought a real interesting conversation up at the dinner table. A lot of y'all don't know, but yesterday was the July 22nd. I don't know what today is that you're listening. But July 22nd was my 23rd birthday. And so, what?
23rd.
Caitlin, don't call your dad. My daughter's in here, too. Don't call your dad out when he lies. What's wrong with you? Well, it was my 43rd birthday, for real. And we were at my dad's, and we started talking about cutting weight. And I was talking about how when I wrestled, I used to cut. And we got into a big conversation about this. So we're going to talk about this later.
Yeah, good
because
stuff.
About how dangerous it is because people have actually died from cutting weight. Yeah. And stuff like that. So moving along. We're going to get into this topic of human trafficking, and it's my job and my mission and Rebecca's mission and pretty much anybody who's around me's mission to make sure you're always prepared, you're aware, and you're ready to defend yourself in case something with these issues that you deal with on a daily basis. So human trafficking is a very powerful one, and I know a little bit about it. Most of us think that the main part of it is what we see on TV. Yeah. You see movies like Taken, and it's always a bag over the head and a kidnapping or something like that. And you think that that's the main way it happens. But I got a guest, Christy Hughes, who really researches it. She's a part of organizations to bring a stop to this. And like I said, she sat me down at the table and she told me some stuff that these guys are using some slick, tricky stuff. Yeah. So I said, I've got to get you on there to tell people what you found, and then I'm going to give you some countermeasures on how you can avoid this from happening.
Okay.
So everybody, I'm going to bring on right now Christy Hughes.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Christy.
Well, hey, thanks for taking your she said, hi, Becky. She's back.
We know who's important around here.
Exactly.
She's back. Hi, Jermaine.
Oh, how you doing? Yeah. Nice to say hi to you. Well, at least you didn't put Caitlin before me. She over there in the corner. Look,
Caitlin there. Hi, Caitlin.
She doesn't even get a headset.
Is my mic on? Hi, Christy. They turned my mic off, so I can't really say what I want.
That's right. I had to ground her. Now I get to point to the producer when she gets to turn the microphone off, so she don't bust me out for any donuts or anything again. Well, thanks for taking time out of your day, to come on and talk about this topic, which I know is, that's nothing, no kind of sacrifice to you, because this is something that you've been pushing at me since day one that we met, trying to bring the awareness up to people of how big this is. So
yes, it is.
One of the first things I have to ask is, what's your background and your connections with this issue of human trafficking?
Well, we didn't know much about it until my daughter, Abby, when she decided she wanted to be an FBI or DEA agent. And then as we got into kind of researching the job and things she would come into contact, we realized most people think this is happening like in Asia and in other countries. It's happening right here in your own backyard. Wow. And so we started researching and decided to kind of move forward and learn about it and support, any organization that's doing this. So right now, we financially support several organizations that are involved in rescuing these boys, too, although the majority are girls and women, but boys, girls and women. So they go in and rescue them. And then we also support an organization who houses them after the rescue and helps with the restoration and healing. We also talk to as many people as we can to bring awareness to the issue. Watch your kids. It's happening on the street next to yours, maybe your own street. Abby went, and as Jermaine and Becky know, is not a girly girl kind of person. She stepped out on a limb, did a beauty pageant.
Yep, she sure did.
Just so she could deliver a speech to these girls about these dangers.
Her first undercover job.
Yes, right.
Unsanctioned. She did it on her own.
Yes, and in fact, it was such a hot topic because she was talking on something totally different than the other girls. The photographer actually has a friend in Chicago who fights this. So when the buzzer went off, your time is done. He's like, let her talk, let her talk, let her talk. They actually bent the rules to let her finish because at that point she was saying, look, this guy down the street wants to order a girl who's 5'2", brown hair and blue eyes, and that's you, and they see you. Yeah. You might be the next one abducted, or they're going to target you in a different way, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit.
Definitely.
So that, and the other thing that I do is there's a group based out of Colorado, and it's these women and girls and boys that make products, purses and jewelry and things like that. So I sell it so that helps in their restoration and their kind of learning a new job, getting back into their communities and their healing. So that's another thing that we do. And in my opinion, talking about it is the least I can do. And if one person is saved from this, then, everything that I've done, the time I've spent, worth it. But the biggest thing that we do, and my church has a group that prays just about this subject. So the biggest thing you can do is pray for the investigators, the rescuers, the law enforcement who are coming in contact with these people so that they recognize these people who are being trafficked and can help them. And then also, of course, those people, those people who are affected, the victims of human trafficking as well.
Well, it's definitely an awesome organization, and like I said, this was a topic, I'm into self-defense. I've been into it for the longest, my whole life. And human trafficking was a topic, even though I've seen the movies and stuff like that, I didn't really know it was so major. You know, and I think one of the main important things that people need to understand, because I'm big on, kids playing and, allowing your kid to get out of your sight, not paying attention to what your kid's doing. You know, sometimes you go in a neighborhood, you see kids running around. It's, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, you see a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old kids running around in the dark,
right.
a mile away from home. So what age groups do these type of organizations target, these human trafficking organizations?
The average age of a child sex trafficked is 13.
Wow.
So the target is between 12 and 14. 300,000 children are at risk of trafficking in the United States alone each year.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And what type of, because one of the things I always like people to do is be able to identify your attacker. I always say you have to know and understand your opponent. It's just like, everything's like a fight to me. When I'm getting ready to fight my opponent, the more I know about him, like almost if I'm his friend, I know so much about him, then there's this comfort level where when I face him, then there's no fear. Because the main thing that scares us is the element of surprise, not being aware of something, something that we're not familiar with. So people understanding what type of people do these abductions, what type of, people are doing this. I know one of the things you threw at me.
It could be anybody. It could be your neighbor. You might not know. It could be a physician. It could be, anybody. It's not just, now granted, a lot of these rings are managed by criminal networks. So, and people are often trafficked along with drugs right now. You can sell a drug once, but you can sell a person for sex multiple times. However, there's often smaller loner pimps who work as well. I think I was telling you about the story that I read about the family whose neighbor befriended this couple and their children. And the neighbor got in there and was able to gain those parents' trust. And so he was able to take the girl to sporting events or her practice or her this. In essence, he was taking her to be, exploited, trafficked, prostituted.
Right.
And then would use that and say, if you tell, I'll burn your house down. If you tell, I'll kill your parents. If you tell, I'll do this to your sister. That's what they do. And a lot of times they as most people would understand, they traffic people who might have, or who are more vulnerable, people with a history of sexual abuse, racial minorities, like people wanting to come across the border. Right. They might say, I'm going to bring you to a new job. We have this opportunity for you. Mm-hmm. They get you over here, and it's like, no, you have to work until your debt is paid, until until you owe me X number of dollars. They take your identity. They get in there and they learn about your Social Security number, your family members, your banking information. They get all the personal information. They also target homeless youth, people who come from an abusive or an unstable home. And in that respect, if you think about these teens, middle schoolers, that's a hard time.
Yeah, it is.
They don't know who they are. They're not comfortable in their own skin. They're not confident. They're arguing with their parents. They're arguing with their boyfriend. That's not uncommon. However, you may have an older young man, or even, people can't forget, women also come in and act as a mother or a friend, or the boy would come in and be a boyfriend. And then they lure them in, they get their trust, and then they end up and traffic them. Wow. So it's coercion, it's deception, it's so much more than just nabbing them off the street, which does happen.
Right,
but
that still happens
so
too.
much more than that. Mm-hmm.
How long are they usually in the relationships before they actually do the act? Do you know?
You know what? That I don't know. I've read different stories about, a couple of weeks. They might run off with a boyfriend or something. Women, I read a story not too long about a girl that worked at a gas station, and two teens came in often and talked to her. Well, these two teams were recruiting. So I think, if I remember right, that was like a month.
So still a little more short term than long term. So it's in the weeks and the months more than the years. Okay.
Yes. And so that's why it's important for parents to monitor their kids' phone calls, track their cell phones. I don't care if they get mad. Don't be afraid to make your kids mad, you know. Get in there, you know, get to know the friends, get to know the friends' parents. Where are they going? You know, track all of that. And parents are afraid to make their kids mad today, which, you know, don't be afraid. They'll get over it.
Yeah, a lot of parents
over it.
Yeah, a lot of parents want to be their child's friend. And I always say, you know, be a parent first, be a friend second. You know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be friends with your kid, but you got to be a friend second because the kid doesn't know the things that you know. So it's your job to you know, if I look at it like this, if I'm not making my kid mad at me at least once a week, I'm not being dad. So sometimes I'll just find something, you know, just to make my daughter mad. And she over here laughing right now because she knows it's true. She'll ask me for something and I got no reason to say no. And I will say no. And then she'll ask again and she'll make every sense in the world. And then I'll get mad and say, you ask me again, you're going to get more trouble.
I do that a lot.
Exactly.
I don't take no very easily.
No, she doesn't. And so parents have to understand, you know, your kids, if your kid's not getting mad at you because you're saying no, then you're just being a down the street buddy and you're letting them lead you and they're going to make bad decisions and they can get caught up in something like this. And that's like I say, that's what's really important is that these people are weaseling their way into the family. Yeah. That's insane. And so parents really got to be paying attention because they're good and they're thinkers and they're pulling the Eddie Haskell. And the next thing you know, your kid comes up missing. You got no idea how or why.
Right. The other thing they do is they pull them in and they get them hooked on drugs. So then it's like the girl or the boy will do anything to get that next fix. So that's the other way they keep them. Actually met a mom whose daughter was in rehab simply because this boy came to pick her up. She was sitting in the seat next to him. He took a syringe and popped her in the neck with it.
Wow.
That's how she got hooked on heroin. Goodness. You know, so it's that easy for people to do. I mean, the girl didn't even know it was coming. But that's how easy it is. And obviously that was a boy that, you know, she shouldn't have been trusting or going out with, but
and that's probably when the youth become a little more distant from their parents too. If they're, you know, if they feel that they're doing something bad, they're going to probably shy away from their parents, which probably makes them a little bit more of a victim also.
Yes, exactly, right. And then you have the person in there saying, if you tell, then I will do whatever, you know, threatening them, threatening their family, their loved ones.
Well, one of the strongest tactics that they would use, which you even see, you know, boyfriends, girlfriends, men, women, friends, everybody use that they use that they may not even be human traffickers. So I know human traffickers are users is to turn the person against their family and their friends and try to make you. And I watch this happen with people I deal with, you know, where they try to, you know, I've had business partners who try to turn me against everybody else who's in my ring. So they feel like, so I feel like, oh, you're the only one who cares for me. You're the only one who's looking out for me. So I put all my trust in that person. And that's probably the number one tactic. And that's why a parent has to be really close to their child is you'll get this guy who comes in. And I tell girls this, guys this all the time. When you get that person who's understanding of everything about you and they agree with everything you say, oh, I understand you, I agree with you, that's not a good person. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch what's going on. A person who's agreeing with everything about you, and that's what they do. You know, I'm the only one who understands you. Nobody else understands you. I do. And they turn that kid against you. Then you got the kid sneaking out in the middle of the night where you have no idea where she went, you know, or where he went, whoever it is. And then you're definitely not going to be able to find them. So I know that's a tactic that they probably use strongly.
Okay, so for human trafficking, is it only when they like grab you and take you to other countries, or does it happen in the U.S., like where you just, like how you're talking about with like the boyfriends and stuff, or the neighbors, how they say don't tell anybody, but it's like, I thought human trafficking is where they take you out of the country, but you're not still in the same area. That's
a good question. Chrissy, I'm going to let you answer that one regarding how, because you gave me some mean answers on that one.
I heard part of it, but not all of it.
Well, she's asking, remember how we were talking about human trafficking, and most people, you would think, okay, you get kidnapped, you get shipped to another country. But one of the things, remember you were telling me about the parties, and you may go home that weekend. Explain that a little bit.
Right. Like they'll advertise a party. Kids will go. They might slip a drug in your drink or something. You might be they might rape you or take advantage of you at night. They might put you in a room. They can charge money for that. You wake up in the morning, you don't remember anything, and you go home. That happens too. And that, if you're underage or anybody who's not agreeing to that, obviously that still can be classified as human trafficking because they're prostituting you, with
Definitely. Well, you remember, I remember this.
So,
Caitlin went to a party one time. Remember we talked on the phone. You were going to a party. This was
prom.
No, not prom. This was before that. I think you were going to, maybe it was prom. But anyway, you was going to either a party or prom. And I specifically told you, I said, do not accept any kind of drink, Kool-Aid, anything from anybody. People can put drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, and Caitlin was like, oh my God, Dad, people. And I told you everything.
Right.
I said, this can happen. I said, a girl can do it to you because they hate you. And then they'll let some guys come in and do something to you. And I really schooled her hardcore. And I mean, she was so horrified that you didn't even want to go to the party, but that's how you got to tell your kids this. You got to let them know, or you're going to let them become somebody's victim, you know?
Right. They don't know. I mean, I think these are conversations moms and dads are uncomfortable having with their kids, maybe don't want to. But in today's society, this is like a, huge, like multi-billion, $9.5 billion are made annually in the United States.
Wow.
$32 billion are made off trafficked individuals globally.
Well, here's something that I always tell people when I'm talking to them about, a kid getting snatched or something. I'll say this. I'll say, look, your kid's 10 years old. He shouldn't be out there playing in the middle of the night by us in the dark. He's worth $100,000. $100,000. Somebody, it's nothing to throw some chloroform on the rag and grab his little butt, throw him in the trunk, take him and sell him. That's $100,000 that I just made. And there's people out there who are ready to do this. So if you could say a value, like you could say, hey, when you let this happen to your kid, this is what they're going to sell for. I think that brings more of a fear of wow, because a lot of times they just can't make that connection. What would you say if somebody that they would sell somebody for, overall rate?
It depends on where you are. For like in Africa, a girl might sell for $2. Here in the United States, or like, it's how much do you want to pay? It could be $25, $50, $100,000. It depends on the person who's ordering the girl,
right? Or
at the auction, or it's to the highest bidder, whatever. Babies in China, and yes, parents do not. Hopefully, I need to back up for a second. Okay. Parents do sell their own children. The other thing people do is they come along and they say, if you give me X number of dollars, I will take your child and I will educate them. I will give them a good life, and then they can come back and take care of you. That's what they do to people in like third world countries.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in essence, their child is like in Nepal. These little boys are just been homeless on the street, and that person's taken the money from those parents. So it's just like anything in the economy. What's it worth to you? $5 in the United States for a child for like 30 minutes. It's not. It can be not very expensive, which makes it even worse.
Well, what are like, because, I hope we scared everybody enough, at least brought the awareness up. And I think that's the most important thing, is just letting people understand how, these tactics that they use. What's some signs that people can pay attention to, that they can see, so they can see that this may be occurring?
So if you are talking to someone right now, even in St. Louis, they're trying to educate hotel owners about these signs, law enforcement, everyone. But sometimes those girls aren't allowed to speak to you by themselves. They won't make eye contact with you. They are unwilling to give you an address or local information of where they're from, where they live. They are inconsistent when they tell you about certain events. If you're asking them about their family or just, normal conversation that people have, they're inconsistent about that. They have physical signs of maybe torture, physical restraint, so bruises, anything like that, a broken arm. Because these girls they're treated terribly. They're abused, they're physically abused, sexually abused. So they might be looked malnourished, unhealthy. They don't have health care, dental care. The other thing that pimps do is they brand their girls. So they might have a tattoo on their neck or their lower back.
Gotcha.
They wear the same clothes. Hey, I see her. She's always wearing the same thing.
Uh-huh.
They seem fearful, anxious, very distrustful, especially of law enforcement or anyone who they feel is digging around, Right. They also have what we call, we think would be an odd loyalty to their pimp,
Right.
They want to protect them or whatever. They don't consider themselves a victim, which is interesting. They're not free to leave, like come and go. You might see them getting in and out of cars or hotel rooms with different people, a lot. Not paid very little. A lot of times the pimp makes all the money and they don't get hardly anything, if anything at all. They don't have control over their money or their financial information. They're not going to school or they're not attending regularly. They also, a lot of them have a prepaid cell phone so that you can't track them. Things like that. Also, I hope I'm not stepping out of line by saying that, kind of a preoccupation with sexual situations and topics, which wouldn't be normal for most, teens to openly talk about that or act a certain, provocatively, I guess. They also are with someone they say is their boyfriend or their daddy, which isn't obviously the case. They lie. They lie about their age. They probably have a fake ID. They're probably a chronic runaway. Things like that. So trafficking occurs more often in more places than we think, often hidden in plain sight. So it's important for people to be aware. And if anything seems odd, there is a trafficking hotline you can call and say, I saw this. They'll check it out. You know what? If it's nothing, fine. If it's something, then you may have just saved someone.
Yep.
Right. What's the number for that hotline?
It's 1-888-373-7888. So that was 888-373-7888.
Oh, Christy, I'm going to go back to something you said. You said that they don't look or they don't see themselves as victims. What did you mean by that? You mean that they have them convinced that they're not what they are, so it's kind of hard for them to show.
I owe this person. This person's taking care of me. He's paying my bills. He's doing all these things for me. I owe him. I'm not the victim. Or they may even think they're not the victim because they have no self-worth. I deserve what I'm getting.
Or they don't know any different. Yeah.
Well, that's something I stress a lot to people is when you get involved in boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, and you always got to watch out, if you got a daughter, even a son, anybody who's buying gifts all the time and, always getting them a lot of stuff, because you see that happen all the time. Then a breakup happens, then they want their stuff back, and I always say, when you give somebody something in a relationship, it's gone. You gave it to them. You don't owe this person for that. So, you're in a relationship with somebody and they give you all this stuff and you accept it, and then you break up and they're like, well, you owe me this, you owe me that. That's kind of this same situation where you're saying, they'll gift them, take care of them, pay for this, pay for that, and then I was even reading in your packet, that it was saying that the pimps, because you think a pimp, you think he's smacking her around and all this stuff, but he'll actually say, oh my God, I'm in trouble. There's some guys are going to kill me because I spent all my money on you. I need you to help me. They're going to rip my head. He might even punch himself in the eye, and give himself a black eye to convince this girl that she's got to do these things to help save him.
Yeah.
So that's where you're going off and saying that, they feel like now they're the hero and they're trying to help save someone and they're doing the right thing by doing this. And that's how manipulative they can be. But that's where people have to understand that, if you're in a relationship, when you give in a relationship, you give because you care for that person. That person doesn't owe you, and you don't owe that person for what they gave to you. And then that'll be able to shut that
That's why
down.
The restoration part of all this and the healing, when girls are removed from that, rescued from human trafficking, that's why the healing and the restoration and the counseling is so important for these girls before they go back out into the communities. Otherwise, they're going to be a victim all over again.
So when they're rescued, you said that a lot of, as an outside person who's, let's say, you have somebody who sees signs in somebody, I guess I'm wondering what's the process to even question the person or interrogate them to try to figure out if they're in that situation. How do they get rescued?
Technically, you wouldn't approach that girl. You would call someone. I mean, you might talk to her, but you wouldn't let her know. I mean, you might just be kind to her, give her a meal or a gift card. Like, I don't usually give people money. I'll carry like a McDonald's gift card or a Wendy's gift card, and I'll give them that instead, because then they can't go buy drugs or alcohol with it, and they're gonna get some kind of food. But don't approach them, because their pimp may be dangerous. Their pimp may see you talking to them, and then end up and physically beat them, abuse them, or put them through more psychological trauma.
Wow.
So you would call law enforcement or that human trafficking hotline.
Okay.
Now here's another. I know that even Rebecca, you mentioned to me that through Facebook, and this is not to put Facebook down, but through social media, there was some company that was sending out fake invites for girls to come to some hotel for photo shoots or something like that, and they were kidnapping. The girls getting kidnapped, and they were using a legitimate company's name.
Yeah, they were.
So, because I know a lot of girls, especially nowadays with the influence of, magazines and TV and rappers and singers, everybody wants to be a star. They think they're going to get automatically rich by looking and acting like this star, who got rich, who's 1 out of 10 million. There's 10 million other ones that try to get rich like that star, and they did not make it. That's that one. But they all think they're going to be the next one. So people feed on that. I used to watch people, as a bouncer, I worked in these nightclubs, and they would say, photo shoot, and you get to do a photo shoot with a penthouse photographer. And it was some photographer who took a picture of a girl, sent it in the penthouse. Penthouse put it up in the, the ads or whatever. But then they convinced him that this is this photographer, and there's a $10 million photo shoot that you get to have with him. And it's like a $20 photo shoot. But all these girls were swarming, coming there, just doing everything to try to get in this. And it was just a ploy. And then the guys would try to pick up on the girls. But I could see that being worked in this type of where now there's somebody that's taking that a step further and pushed the envelope, and they're doing that. And now they're kidnapping these girls or getting these girls involved in human trafficking.
Right.
So what was tell me, you got a little bit more you could tell me about that? Because I remember you mentioning that also. And then what was it online, Rebecca, that because it actually got sent to us as a warning to let us know.
Yeah, I can't
and
remember.
One of our customers, actually, her daughter had been approached by that company. Mm-hmm. If you can't, I can't remember the name of it.
On that thread, I remember responding because there were people that were saying, "Oh no, that's a good company. Do this. Oh no, they're good. I used to work for them." Blah blah. You know what? I stuck my nose in it because you can't encourage someone to go forward with something unless you've seen the letter, you've made the call, it's a legitimate company. Because if it's someone acting like someone else, and you encourage someone to send their kid and go do this or go do that, and it's wrong or it's a bad deal, then you're responsible for that.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
So I just encouraged that person. I said, call the company, call the headquarters yourself and find out. Because, the company is a legitimate company, but if someone's using that, go in and sell this product into homes, they're using that.
Yeah.
And then you get caught up in the fake company or the fake organization, then you've just, sent someone into a bad situation. So I think it's important to check out those things on your own. Don't take I'm not saying don't take recommendations from people, but check it out if it involves your child going into people's homes, if it involves going places without adult supervision, this or that,
Which is something I feel that, you shouldn't be sending your child anyway.
Right,
to
but
do
people
something.
do.
Yeah. Until Caitlin's carrying her CCW, somebody, she wants to be a model, I'm there. I'm her manager. Right. Next to her manager. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't, and the first thing because the way I say it, when I step into on the floor, even a parent, you don't have to be a muscle bound cage fighter. Just any concerned parent, even a concerned mom, people can see that in you. And when you step on the floor with your child, if they're fake, they're going to fade you out. She's not going to get accepted. I'm sorry, she's not what we're looking for.
Yep.
So the parent should be there. They should never just, oh, mom, I'm going to this modeling thing. Okay, have a good time. Don't let your child just walk out like that. Go with them.
No, you go with them. Yeah, you check it out. I've been known to tell people if something comes up with my child, they're in a bad situation, I've been known to say, over my dead body. Do you understand what that means when a mom says, over my dead body?
That means your body's going to be dead first. Their body's going to be dead first before yours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's important for parents to do that. If you look at those billboards they have of missing exploited children, in my heart, I believe that a lot of those kids have been abducted into human trafficking. I really feel like that.
Yeah.
And what happens is they move them from place to place to place, and you only have a certain amount of time before those kids are in a different part of the country. And the investigators will get on a lead on something. Well, then somehow those people have realized, and then they have moved.
Right.
So then you have to start a new trail, and that's how they get around these things. So, you just don't want your kids' face up on that poster.
That's why it's really important for kids to be involved, in good groups, good organizations, good sport teams, to be included in a, really solid program or organization with good peers, with good adults, that kind of stuff. Because if that's not who they're targeting, that's what they need to be involved with.
Yep.
Yes, I agree. Being involved is because then you learn how to be part of a group. You learn what kind of people you can trust. However, you do have to be careful when your family befriends another family. Sexual predators will often befriend the family, the kids. They will initially touch the child appropriately in front of the parents. Then that will move to a quick inappropriate touch in front of the parents. And if the parents don't stop those inappropriate touches and behavior, the child in their mind thinks it's okay.
What's an inappropriate touch? You mean like a weird, like a inappropriate hug?
Like a weird tickle. A tickle in a private part. Okay.
Yeah,
like that. Just
rubbing
quick.
the shoulder, a touch on the leg, things like that.
Okay.
Right.
That's why I'm really strict. Like even, like I even teach Caitlin that when an adult male is in the house or in a room, you get out the room. You don't talk with them. They're not your friend. Even if it's my friend, she don't communicate with my male friends. They don't need to be where they feel they can rub her shoulder or touch her leg or give her, they don't need to do that. That's not your daughter. That's my daughter. Yeah. And she's not your friend. You're my friend. So and like I said, it's a shame because, in the 1960s, maybe years ago, everything was a lot closer. People would hug and people could do things like that. But I would assume that was before it was revealed that all this, these sexual predators out there. But now you have to, you have to keep everybody on lock and key. Yeah. You got to be stricter and have stricter rules when it comes to stuff like that to make sure it doesn't sneak its way into your, into your home.
Yeah. Well, with the, there's a lot of split families out there too. And a lot of that comes from, doing a lot of back and forth and going to this parent's house, then this parent's house. And then there's this boyfriend and this girlfriend and a new kid here and a new kid there. So a lot of that, you have to pay attention to that situation too.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Well, Christy, I appreciate you, coming on with us. Anybody got any more questions for Christy before we send her off? And I hope this is going to be really good. I want to remind everybody too about the hotline number. If you don't ever, just like I tell you, if you think something's wrong, call the cops. The cops want to hear from you. You know, these hotline people want to investigate. They'd rather investigate and spend time and be wrong. And there was nothing there.
Yep.
Then you sit at home and not make the call, and then something was there. And then you're calling them saying, hey, my kid's missing. You know, make those calls beforehand. That hotline number was 1-888-373-7888. If you have any kind of questions, doubts, wonders, thoughts, those are the professionals. They can tell you more signs to look for. They might even be able to introduce somebody into your life that can, you know, get in there and investigate and find out if something is or isn't happening. So,
right. And then the Covering House is based right here in St. Louis, and they are an organization that's very involved in helping with this problem too.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Christy. We appreciate you coming on and taking time to bring some awareness up on this issue.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christy.
Okay, so that was a lot of great information from Christy. You know, the most important thing, like I said, is to bring up the awareness. And of course, if you have a kid, you know, your preparedness for dealing with issues like this is, first of all, you have to, you know, like I say, my show is called Life Fight because everything is a fight. And one thing I learned through fighting was that it represents everything we deal with in life, from emotions, you know, your opponent, all this kind of stuff. So the first thing you want to do is you want to be prepared for a situation like this and understand that it can occur. And the way you prepare for it is, number one, you have to fully educate your child. When your child, you know, I think kids aren't as stupid as adults think they are. You know,
Absolutely.
I think they're probably smarter than the adults who think they're stupid, you know, definitely. You know, and if you tell your kid this can happen, this is what you can look at, this is what you can face, this is what somebody can set you up for, then your kid is your first weapon. In the issue, then they're on guard. They're watching. You know, when your kid knows, you know, hey, if somebody's showering you with gifts, they're probably trying to put you in this position. They're not going to be, oh my God, I love him so much. He bought me this Rolex and gave me this and gave me, because they'll hide those gifts from you. You know, if your kid's not educated, they know, you know, like if Caitlin came home with a $500 purse, she know it's going to be on if I see it. So if she's not educated that she may be getting set up like this, she's going to think, oh, my dad just is a jerk. He's going to get mad over it. He just doesn't want me to have it. And then he's going to use that to turn her against me. Yeah. But now since she's educated, she's going to say, uh-oh, Dad, what do you think about Mike giving me this $500 purse? I think I've got some security guys that are going to investigate him. That's what I think. And it's going to be under a bright light in a dark room with me standing over him with some weighted gloves on, you know. So educating your daughter is the first weapon that you have. You educate her, let her know what's going on, and that's going to be your first tool. You know, and then secondly, don't be afraid, like Christy was saying, to piss your kid off.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
Yeah, if you feel something's funny, something's weird, and you need to shut it down, then shut it down. Yeah. You know, if you don't know, I got those saying, well, if you don't know, don't go. And what was it? In Heat, what he used to say, if there's doubt, there's no doubt. Yeah. I mean, if there's doubt, there's no doubt that you don't do it. Right. So it's the same thing. If there's doubt with your kid, something she's dealing with or somebody she's dealing with, somewhere she's going, boom, it don't happen. Yeah. If they get mad at you, whatever, that's too bad. But at the same time, don't just make your kid mad. Have them educated as to why. Yeah. You know, because you don't want to just be, no. And they feel like, oh, they just won't let me do it. Then they sneak out the back door with them.
Well, educating them is going to still build that trust relationship. Right. You still want to have that relationship with your kid where they feel that they can come to you and that they trust you to be able to tell you, you know, if something is happening to them. You never want them to feel like they can't come to you. So you have to have that both sides where they trust you, but where they still fear you as a parent.
Right. Where they respect you. Right. Still. Where they don't feel like you just try to shut them down. Right. And that's why I think parents mess up, because they don't want to educate their kids. They just want to boss them around. Yep. Caitlin, got something to say?
Okay. So I know when you guys watch Family Guy and stuff, and me and you were watching it one time when Becky was sick, and that child molester character was on. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, when I was watching it, I know he was a child molester and it was wrong, of course, but the way that they made him seem, he kind of made it seem like he was a good guy.
They make you like him.
Yeah. So then, and when you're educating your kid, they probably watch this kind of stuff, so they might get confused, you know?
Yeah. And see, that's the thing too. And that's why, remember, I explained that to you immediately. Because we usually wouldn't let you watch Family Guy. Yeah. But now since you're getting older, you know, I mean, I got to expose you to things that everybody else will expose you to first. And the first thing I said, you see him right there? He's a child molester. And you looked at me like, what? I said, but wait a minute. But Family Guy's trying to make you comfortable with that. Yeah. They try to make him funny. And he does funny things, you know, where you like, and you end up liking his character. But he's a child molester. Yep. And there's no question that that's what he's trying to do in that show. You know, so that shows you how accepted this garbage can be. That here's one of the greatest cartoons on the planet that exists, and they're glorifying a child molester as one of their biggest stars on that show. You know,
and parents, you don't have to go into detail when you're educating the kid, because that can be kind of scary. You know, you don't want to open their mind necessarily to the details of what's happening. You just have to educate them on a basic level, you know, of getting them to understand, you know, what to look out for, you know, make sure you have that trusting relationship, you know, make sure they're involved in something that's, you know, a good, you know, has good peers and good adults around them, stuff like that.
Well, I think in you saying that, I think we have to be, really careful, because what you're talking about is sensitivity. And, you know, there's things you could, like I know I used to tell Caitlin, you know, when you were 10, don't ever let anybody take you.
Oh gosh,
don't ever let anybody take you.
You would scare me.
Because if they take you, you're gone. I'm not going to be able to find you. Don't believe you're going to get found. You never let anybody take you. You fight. You stay with, you know, you pay attention, and it got your guard up where you had. I
was always so paranoid, especially my little brother now. Like, he's never out of my sight because I just get really paranoid sometimes. And
I would rather make the kid paranoid, because what we got to be careful of is the desensitization. Nowadays, they see so much crap in movies, video games, this and that, that you got to almost tell them what can happen.
Yeah.
Because just saying somebody's going to kidnap you, that may not be enough. But saying, dude, they're going to kidnap you, they're going to torture you, they're going to starve you, they're going to, you know, and then they're thinking about, you know, oh, you mean all like that one, all these bad things, then they're really paying attention. Just like, you remember you had the situation you told me about at the mall where the old man follows you to the bathroom.
That was at a gas station in the middle of the night. We were coming back from Florida from a road trip, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I went to the bathroom in a gas station, and this man followed. My mom was in the car, and so she saw this man in there because she watches me. So I was in the bathroom, of course, and it's like a one-person bathroom, and she saw the man follow me. He was like some kind of foreign man, and when I came out of the bathroom, he was standing right by the bathroom door staring at me, and I just backed up. And then my mom came out of nowhere, and she kind of nudged him, and she was like, "Excuse me, sir," and pushed him out of the way. And he was like, I'm sorry.
That's all she did to him.
Yeah, right. She's like, "Let's go, Caitlin." And I was like, "Oh, okay, Mom." And I think I was like 12, 13.
But keeping your awareness up, you know, with just what I put in your head, you weren't just like, "Oh, hey," and there goes a chloroform rag, and you disappeared that quick. And that's how quick they grab people. You know, like I tell people about that all the time in you know, what do you call, like, shopping centers, or, you know, I don't want to say Walmart, but what kind of store would Walmart be considered that? Because I just don't want to use their name.
Just
like
the shopping store.
A department store, whatever you call it. But a store with, you know, where they got the long aisles, and people have their kid there, and they'll let their kid, you know, a little 6-year-old, 7-year-old, run to the toy aisle.
Yep.
And these people are waiting. And you'll be standing up, "Johnny, I told you to get over here." But you're looking on the shelf of what you're getting ready to get. Mm-hmm. He'll run around that corner. They'll grab him, run him to the bathroom, shave his head, and out the back door before you even realize he's gone. That's how quick these people are with that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of parents got to be aware of that. And that's the same thing, like putting that awareness on you. It made you step back from the guy instead of just, oh, there's just some guy here, and walk up to him, and you get within that 2 feet where he can reach and grab you. So that may save you. So I think you got to. I think when you're telling your kid, back to what you were saying, Rebecca, they have to get their kids' attention.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I took it to the point with her where until I see her going, "Holy crap," I'm not going to stop. And if she's not just sitting there and she's thinking about the next song she's going to listen to on her headphones when I'm telling her, then we're going to get intense. I might have to put a movie on. It's like, look, watch this. See what happens to this person. You know, if I got to put Saw on to get her attention, you want to end up like that, you know, where you're like, no. And it scares her. I'd rather be paranoid and, you know, run around thinking like that than taking a chance on getting grabbed. So, but the education is number one. Your child can be your first tool in this toolbox. And then meet all of their friends. Mm-hmm. You know, don't let them have friends, groups of people, especially older friends. You know, you need to meet them, and don't think you can hear how manipulative they can be in this game. And don't think just because you met the guy that stops it. Yep. You know, investigate. You know, I've always said too. You know, there's nothing wrong with putting a private investigator on somebody. Mm-hmm. You know, when
especially
it comes to when it comes to that, you know, because I even say, you know, even when people get married, that's why there's so many divorces now because people will marry anybody.
Yeah,
you know, they marry anybody quick. They know each other 2 weeks and they get married. Yeah, it's like, have you met his mom, dad? Have you? No. We never get into any fights. We never get into argument. Oh man, she agrees with everything I say. Yeah.
How long you been married?
Yeah. How long? But what's gonna happen when she gets mad? Have you seen her mad yet? Yeah. Have you two got into a disagreement yet where somebody wants to knock somebody's teeth out, and what happened? So that's one of the things is everybody jumps to it so fast. I always say, before you're going to marry somebody, put a private investigator on them. Find out who they truly are. See what they do. They can always tell me, before you marry me, put a private investigator on me. I don't care if he do catch me doing something. Get to know who I am before you get involved with me.
Right.
You know, and if your daughter has this dude who she's getting involved with, load them up with some investigators.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to cost you that much. It's going to cost you way less than if she comes up missing.
Yeah.
You know, what you're going to have to pay for investigators then. So if she's got somebody she's serious about and this person's seeming they're in there, you know, you put a private investigator on.
Yeah.
That's something that's a really good, you know, defense tactic you can use.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I dated a guy a couple years older than me. And we weren't allowed to leave the driveway. That was about as far as we were allowed to go. My dad had a point at the end of the driveway. He said that you guys can't leave this
You
point.
go past
So
that, he coming out with a bat.
yeah, that relationship didn't last long. He was out of there.
I was like,
And then in regards to, you know, if you're a teen girl, you know, like I said, the age is 12 to, I think, 19, that there's now 12 to early 20s.
Well, she actually said age 13 was the most specific age.
Yeah,
so
that they go for, but they do 12 also.
She said 12 to
so
14. Yeah.
I think 12, 13, 14, you shouldn't be so far away from home anyway where you can get involved in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, when you're getting 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you know, if you're going to parties and things like that, you need to know where you're going. You need to be with, you know, good friends.
Yeah.
Don't drink just anything. And then you even heard what she said. You got to watch out, man, for these people. Like, it goes like this. I know if you're dealing with a crew of people and there's known drug users in it, I don't care if it's the weed smokers, because everybody trying to legalize weed now, but it ain't legal. It's still illegal. So those weed smokers are connected to heroin users, cocaine users, crack users.
Yeah.
They're all in the same group. So even though this weed smoker may be cool, or he may not be a weed smoker, but his best friends are,
Yeah.
you're going into their territory.
Yeah.
And like, remember she said about the dude sticking the girl with the needle? Mm-hmm. That can happen quick and easy. Somebody sit down and shoot you up with heroin. Now you sitting there like this, you know, and then they take advantage of you. And now you're addicted to heroin too.
Yeah.
And guess what? The only place I can get is over there, you know, so that's how dangerous it can be out there.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful. If you are a teen girl, don't just be trying to go out and find a good time.
Yeah.
You know,
And trust your parents. You know, you have to have that trust with them. You have to be able to say, you know, hey, mom and dad, this is where I'm going tonight. You know, it's so-and-so's house. This is the party I'm going to. You know, I'll be back at this time. Because a lot of times,
Exactly.
when you don't have that trusting relationship with your parents, that's when you sneak out. And that's when that kind of stuff happens. So,
yeah, make sure they know where you're going. Always have your cell phone on you. Have your parents' number on speed out. Know where 911's at. That way, something weird happens. You get drugged. You start feeling weird. Boom, speed dial fast. Mom, I'm here. I feel something feels weird. I don't feel right.
or when they know that you were supposed to be home at this time and you weren't, you know, it raises their awareness also.
Also, like, I remember Chrissy talking about how your family can be involved in human trafficking. I know one of my old friends, when she was younger, one of her family members, he, like, molested her and stuff like that. Her parents didn't know about it because they would drop her off at her, like, I think it was like her uncle or something, drop her off and think everything was fine. She was so young, and they found out that he was molesting her and stuff like that. So she doesn't go over anyone's house. Like, I'd always try to have sleepovers and have her come over, and she was never allowed. But it's kind of scary on who you can and can't trust.
Yeah, and that's a really hard one, you know. And that's just me personally. I just I don't trust anybody with you. You know, you know, every time you ask, you can go somewhere. What's the answer? No, no, you can't go, especially if there's a male there. You know, because to me, it's not worth that chance. That's a hard one. That's a really hard, because most, you know, molestation and things like that happen within the family, and it's done by somebody, you know. Because even violent assault, sexual assault attacks, usually they know the person. It was a neighbor, you know, somebody who they thought was a friend, somebody who was working their way in. So when you're dealing with somebody who's a young child with an undeveloped mind who is probably afraid to hit back and don't even know how to hit back, then that causes a serious problem, which of course gets me back to the number one issue that I would tell every dad, you know, your daughter should be a ninja, a CIA agent. She should be able to put it on people, you know, easily and with no problem. You know, she should know how to fight back, and she should have no shame in fighting back. So if she gets caught in a situation like that, she's going to start banging. You know, and most of these guys who, you know, people who try to do things to people like that, like I said before, you know, they're not fighters and they're not looking for a fight. So you can easily fight your way out. Okay, well, you can go to my Facebook page, Jermaine Andre, you know, and always, you know, ask questions. Go to Life Fight Facebook like page, and when we, you know, we're going to be putting of course, the runaway number up, the website. So if you, you know, have thoughts or concerns about something like this, you know, that you think may be happening, Don't waste time. Give these guys a call. Find out, get answers to your questions. We need those reviews. Give us reviews, and also another thing, I think I didn't tell you yet, Rebecca, but we're on iHeartRadio now.
Yeah, no, I know that. Yep.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Well, you probably knew
I
before
was paying
did.
attention while I was sick.
Yeah. So now we're on Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, so you can hear us everywhere. We're out there.
Yep.
Don't be shy, giving those reviews, asking questions, so you can get a hold of the joystick and control what we're talking about.
We want your feedback.
Here.
Come on.
Yep. But any other questions, Caitlin, regarding this issue? Everybody, like I said, this is a very, very important topic. At least, please try to get your friends to listen to this. Put them on here. Get daughters. If you got daughters, nieces, whatever it is, man, let them listen to this. Don't let, you don't want to be that person who, wow, I could have just told somebody to listen to this and it might have saved their life, when you get that phone call that somebody came up missing. When the awareness is always key. It's number one. Like I say, when you bring your awareness up, that lowers your chances of an attack 99%. I mean, that's not a joke. It's almost impossible to get attacked when your awareness is up. Okay, so you got anything, Caitlin?
No, I think attack back is like the most important thing in the whole entire world right now, because if you get like how you always tell me, if you get kidnapped, you're over, like it's done. So
yeah,
I'm glad I know my stuff.
Definitely. Right on. I'm glad you know it too. I'm glad you listen.
Yep.
Because, and I'm going to make a good point. I can't remember the name of this movie, but there's this movie out. We're going to find out what it was.
Yep, we'll get the name.
Rebecca and I watched. They did a really good job. It was like a B-rated movie. These people were riding in a bus. All right. And in the bus, the driver of the bus and two passengers were human traffickers.
Yeah, they were the
and they broke the truck down. They killed off the males on the bus. They did all kinds of stuff. And it was a very well made movie, because even how they did the characters weren't these psycho crazy.
Yeah, no, they made it real.
They seemed like regular guys. Yep. And these girls kept making these mistakes of being with these guys, and you thought that girls was going to get away. They didn't get away. They showed the whole process. The guys coming in, buying the girls.
Yes.
They dressed the girls up, washed them off, everything. And you're looking at it like, okay, the girl's going to get away. They did a really good job. And at the very end, this girl ends up in a box with a litter pan and cat food.
Yeah.
And then you look up and she's in the truck
being
crate,
shipped off,
and then you look up and she's on a cargo boat, and all these train crates, and there's thousands of girls in there, and they're getting shipped to another country, and that brought such I was like, oh my goodness. So we're definitely going to find out what that movie is. I know Bill's going to pull it up for us, and we'll probably have that name.
And it wasn't a very like the graphics and everything wasn't too deep for young girls to watch. It was it
wasn't too gory.
Yeah, it was a decent enough movie for younger people to watch. It was B-rated. It wasn't even a popular movie.
So we'll get that movie.
We'll get the name of it. Yep. Actually, I found the name of the movie. It's called Shuttle.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
I remember, because they were on a shuttle.
Yep.
Yeah, and the movie was put together so well that they could have showed it on TV. Like it's not inappropriate.
Yeah, it wasn't inappropriate.
Yeah, but it makes this point. And what was really messed up is you're so used to, movies always ending with, the good guy winning.
Yeah.
And they led this movie up like that, where you think, oh, they're going to get away. They're going to escape. And some people died in it. Where you're kind of like, oh, man, they lead you up like that. But you're always going to have the winner in the end. And then in the very end, the way it ended, you're like,
yeah.
Whoa.
They showed the truth.
It's like, oh, man. I was like, you go to bed feeling bad. Like, wow. But I think it was more important that they were trying to send this message than to entertain you with Taken, where CIA dad comes out and beats up everybody, and you come out without a scratch on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it really, really hit home like that. But yeah, that's the name of the movie, Shuttle. I advise everybody to see it yourself, and if you got a kid, let your kid see it. Yep. Let them get a taste of that reality of what could happen and how they could end up. All right, well, that's it for this segment of Life Fight. Jermaine Andre signing out with Caitlin Andre.
Bye, guys.
And Rebecca Beck back on the scene.
Yes.
So she is going on the next podcast where we're going to talk about her disappearance.
Thanks a lot.
What happened to her. That's right. Her confessions of Rebecca Beck. So thanks for listening, everybody. And remember that now you got your gloves on and you're ready to get out there and win it, because now we're in your corner.
Take care.
Bye.
For all things Jermaine Andre, get books, get trained. Learn the secrets behind his brawn, his brain, and his edge. Visit JermaineAndre.com. Life Fight with Jermaine Andre is another positive production of RareGem Productions. Thanks for listening.